Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another podcast episode on this YouTube channel. Welcome or welcome back. Today is I always say this, but sometimes I have notes, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm low key inspired by what I am literally writing in my journal. I don't know. I take inspiration from a lot of places, but this one is kind of just a off the head feeling, and I feel like it relates to one of my podcast episodes, one of my first ones that got some clout. No, when I got my first 1K on YouTube, I was like, wait, the people are listening. Book me now, okay? And it was called Brace Your Negative Feelings, something I still believe to this day. And it's so interesting to look back at me, especially for people who have been here since that episode or have watched my old videos, because I've been on YouTube for 2 years now. So I really get to look back like she was so different, right? And if you guys keep with my story times and stuff, I've been on YouTube for 2 years. I've had one relationship in on since doing YouTube. Everything else is from the past, babe. And I started YouTube in a really sad, depressed time where I was single for a long time. I was in therapy. I was unemployed. I was just trying to feel all right. Okay. And I was quite literally not talking much, not having much of a social life outside of therapy. And this is why YouTube and when I get love and get people who feel helped and seen, it means that much to me because that is how I started, where I was like, well, I guess I'll just talk to my camera. I think I was 6 months post abusive relationship, and me using my voice on social media, not even just YouTube, has changed so much. I've been doing content for 5 years. And a lot of times I would just go funny for viral stuff, viral thoughts. I wouldn't use my voice. Like most of my videos on TikTok and stuff would be sounds. But I was like, now I really be using my voice and you guys like what I have to say. And I started doing that after I got out of abuse. I literally mentioned, I think to my best friend, I was like, I literally remember in my abusive relationship, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, and he encouraged me, just like abusers and men who hate you encourage you a lot, but they want you to do things but only to your extent. I was literally like, I don't even want to start a YouTube channel because I feel like I'm gonna be scared of what I can and can't say. That's literally how I felt. I was like, he's probably gonna get mad at this, probably gonna get mad at that. He's probably gonna watch every single video, psychoanalyze it, have a problem with anything, tell me to delete it. That's the vibes I was in, right? And now I do what I want. But nonetheless, how I said how it started versus how it is now. Both two single women. And I mentioned before how my seasons of singleness at 2021 are a lot different than they are at 22, 23. I had a brief relationship at 22 for 4 months, right? And now it's been over a year and 6 months since a girl got any play. And the first season of singleness, when I was doing very poorly mentally, when I made the video about embracing your negative feelings and how sometimes things just suck. I was kind of doing the whole overview and kind of like what my therapist told me too, how I have been a raw dogging my emotions my whole adult life. If you guys know anything about me, I don't partake in any substances, anything like that. I didn't have I never had my 20s hope phase, oh, let me just talk to people, whatever, to get my mind off. I'm not a religious person, so I don't put my faith into anything oh, this got me, it's a part of the plan. I live in reality, this is what happens. Sometimes there's no explanation for it, and things just happen. Things positively shift and negatively shift. It happens to everyone. I just live in a very mindset. So yeah, that can be very hard sometimes. The resilience is crazy. Trust me, you guys don't even know. I up so much on here, but I'm like, some of the stuff I don't say. But I always I was feeling triggered a couple weeks ago, love life wise, someone from the past triggering me and playing with me. And I think about how, like, in both these stretches, and to some people, this isn't even being single for a long time or people have different opinions. But for me, as someone who I'm like, I legit haven't been on a date in a year, haven't like blah, 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 blah. The ways in which I handle myself, I feel like shows my resilience. And like back then, the girl in therapy, the girl who's like super depressed and charged versus like when things trigger me now. And I still like, that's the thing about like how people, I always think the phrase of like, I never change, like, you know, you're real if you never switch up. Babe, it's life. You're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be smarter. You're supposed to react to things with more emotional intelligence. Like what? Old dads love to say that. And you know, back then I was just so emotionally charged and like over everything, which I completely understand because of how many fresh wounds I had. But it's like even though I feel like I carry myself so or I handle things so differently, like you still carry the same feelings. Like how I said I'm feeling. Yeah, I literally recorded this video in like summer. I started feeling like that like a week or two again, the same of like how things just suck. Like I remember back then when things would happen or I would get into my depressive episodes and be like, what does it matter? Nothing's gonna get better. I'm gonna live with these memories of abuse forever. Like, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? I remember I would literally just feel like protesting my life. Like, yes, I am just gonna sit in my bed, head over the covers, not eat or not eat until I really have to, hold my pee, things like that. Things that all I again completely understand. But I'm like, I still will feel like that to this day. Even though so many things have changed, I've had new perspectives, I've had new upgrades in my life. Like, there's so many things, but I still feel like that sometimes. Okay. The difference is I don't be doing that. I feed myself. One thing about me, I'm gonna feed myself. Okay, if the DoorDash shoes are super bad, at least, girl, at least you're taking care of yourself. Because years ago, it's like low key a form of self harm, like to do those things. I was like, at least now I can feel that way, but I can still give myself the basic things, and I can, and I feel also feel like my, what do you call it? My cycle, my, what do you call it? I don't know how to explain it, but like I feel like that for shorter periods of time. Like things like that would happen, and I would be like, I'm gonna feel like this. I hate my life, I hate my life for a week. And I see on days like this, it's like I can give myself the space to feel like that for a day or two, and then it's just like, well, girl, even if it's not happy rainbows, excited for the future again, it's like at least I'm just like, well, like now I understand like so many of those lyrics. Well, this is kind of new, but like the Steve Lacy lyric where he was like, "Life's a bee, and then you live again." Like it's really true. Like if y'all saw my journal, this is why I say, like how I said in the last video, to embrace your negative feelings. I feel like if anyone read my journal, it would look crazy. Like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I'm so over everything. I'm never finding love again. Everybody's gonna hurt me. There's nothing better. Why has nothing ever happened to me? Even though I'm super smart and I do the right things. And then I'm like, girl, I'm so proud of you. You launched your business. You're that girl. You're gonna find someone who's exactly like you because they exist. And then 3 days later again, I'm like, it doesn't matter if I write good or bad. Nothing in my like I'm exposing my journal. But I know so many other people feel that way because it's so real. I've had a lot of upgrades recently. And like my career money realm of things that are things I wanted and that like is exciting and I think is even take my mind off how I was feeling a little triggered 2 weeks ago. But people downplay love and relationships and also the need for like all the core values in your life, like career, family, friends, love, like physical things you want. People are so quick to like shoot down people's like, you're literally 23. Why do you even care? When I was 23, I wasn't even, or blah, 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 blah. Like, no, depending on the person, because there's different people. There's asexual people, um, there's different relationship dynamics. But for me, as a monogamist, straight woman who enjoys love, enjoys relationships, even though they've been painful. Like, I really do see like the good parts of being in love truly do like fuel me. Like, I think I was having this conversation with a friend before where it's like, I know some people in my generation might give me slack for this, but I was like, the more things I've been through make me realize, like, I don't know why I thought of this because I was watching Tangled last week. Like, y'all know Flynn Rider's dream, like in the I Have a Dream, where he's like, my dream is it was something to be on an island surrounded by money, and how a lot of people my age are like, if I was rich, I wouldn't have a care in the world. If I could buy, and to some people that might be true, or might they might think it's true. But I'm like, I think when I look at my life and the things I've been through and how people have made me feel, and going through ups and downs, I'm like, I genuinely think I'd be happy just like having enough finance wise or something, but having like my person who understands me, respects me, loves me, mutual is actually like there for me, having a family over like having certain career goals and touching millions. And like I know a lot of people would disagree, but although I want both those things and I feel like I'm gonna get them, um, I feel like it's about how I feel. Like I feel like even though I haven't found my life partner yet, like I said, when I've had good moments in love and stuff, this goes like beyond romantics too. Even like me having a best friend and stuff like that, like nothing beats, I feel like having someone there. But like I said, especially back to romantics, y'all need to stop. Like I said, the all the values matter, but I hate when people act like they can't understand how different and more deep and intimate and closeness of like being married or being in a relationship with a person you love intimately is. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes even when I'm talking to friends or friends who have someone, and I even tell them, like, I'm honest with them, how I know a lot of times it means well. But when they're like, well, why don't you try like that friendship app or try to text that one girl's Instagram you had to make plans, or why don't you try this class and blah, blah, blah. That's not a man in a relationship. Like, I understand what a lot of people are saying, how, yes, like being in community and certain things and trying things does fuel me also. But I'm like, when someone is saying they're sad about being single or like in a relationship, like want a relationship and stuff, those aren't substitutes. Like, nothing is the same as that situation, you know? And it's kind of crazy how, again, like how I make a lot of videos on women being real mean to each other on the internet, how some women would literally call that like male-centered for women who just like want love and are like, yes, that's actually something I want to prioritize and like have. Like, what did Mariah say? Is it a crime? But yeah, it's like to other women and just like people in general, it is fine like to feel so defeated and want to protest your life because maybe a lot of the like core values of life you feel like you don't have, or it's just one specific one, because they all matter. And I'm so tired of some people being like, but you're da, da, da. Like I even see this too when some people are like, people really be trying to find the love of their life at 23. Well, some people, like, I hate to say it, like I feel like my generation is a lot better than the ones that came before us with not being judgy, but in some ways they are so judgy too. 'Cause like it's not a crime for some people to like, oh, maybe some people do want to be married and have a baby at 25 and some women don't or never want kids. And both of those are fine. Like what's the issue? You know what I'm saying? Um Again, kind of relating to my other one, I just think we should be a lot nicer to each other because we all want different things. But yeah, I feel like I mentioned this in like different episodes and stuff, but it can be really frustrating again to see the difference, like I said, especially of like how I was in my season of singleness back then when I was really depressed and really needed professional help versus now how I'm cool, but some of the same feelings still linger, memories, triggers, and just like exhaustion. Like I think I was telling like my friends when I was ranting about it, like how I love myself. That's another thing that people need to stop. When people are like, well, you just need to love yourself. The self-love, is self-love gonna fuck me? No, but I love myself. I love the way I look. And if you guys see my Instagram and stuff, I get a lot of attention online, DMs, comments, male followers. But in real life, where are the hoes at? Where are y'all at? I'm in Southern California, guys. Come find me. No, but like that is one thing that like can also kind of mind you. Like, I think also area matters, especially when you're a black woman. Like, so many things. Like, okay, this happens. And then again, I'm so different from now. Like, I'm so much stricter on my boundaries and protecting myself and learning and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why am I not seeing different results? And I feel like it's like this video doesn't really have a lot of direction, but I think it's important because a lot of people feel this way. And like, it's just fine that it doesn't make sense. And it's fine that sometimes you get exhausted. It doesn't fucking matter that I'm only 23 or, oh, you've been only dating for some years, like, like it's irritating and it doesn't make sense. And I've said before, like when I rant to my friends, how I know comparison is a thief of joy, but also another, I feel like bad thing about social media too, or about our generation, like social media is some people make it seem so easy. And there's two things. Like one, I feel like some people, that it looks easy. Like, trust me, I know from personal experience and knowing about shit. But like some people that make it look easy, they're not happy. They're settling and stuff. But at the same time, there are some people who just found their person at 20, or some people who, yeah, they had a breakup and 3 months later they found the love of their life. And I feel like the most important thing to like understand is that, like, again, me coming from someone who lives in reality, I don't think there's a plan written out for me. I don't think if I just pray harder, it can happen. Like, things just happen and that's just okay and it's not gonna make sense and it's okay to be frustrated that it doesn't make sense because like something else that literally just popped in my head too, that I don't even think I wrote about but I thought about too, and how everyone's journey looks different and times are different, but also like some things are just the way they are. I know a lot of people grow up and they're like, I want to do better than my parents, or I grew up in a one-parent household, and so I'm used to, I already have my guard up, or my parents were together and they shouldn't have been and stuff. I think that's something, especially when I first started dating, that is a little bit of a mind boggle for me too. I know there's other people who had great upbringings like me. I'm not trying to say like, oh, nah, nah. But I came from like a two-parent household and from people who found their person at quite literally like 19, 20, like 1 or 2 years out of high school, like very early, like first or second relationship. And kind of had like a lot of people's like prime timeline, like, okay, and then had their first kid at 25. A lot of people say like, oh, 25, and I kind of love that I have that reminder of love because my dad is a great guy, great father, husband, person. And then I seen a good relationship. I didn't see like a toxic relationship growing up and stuff. But sometimes that's a little more mind-boggling because it's like, what's out there. You had a good example and like that happened, but like that's definitely not on its way to me anytime soon. Like, I remember, y'all, I was so bent out of shape with the boy who didn't like me. Cause I was like, wait, we're 18 and like their like first real relationship worked out, so maybe ours could too. Like I feel like that's also kind of like a little bit of a struggle. It's like, huh, I know it exists for some people and I've seen good things, but it just hasn't found me yet. And that can be very frustrating too. Like just all the things, okay? Like y'all let me know if this is true. Because I've seen before in astrology how one of the things, like I said again, not a religious person, also not a person who puts 1,000% of my beliefs into anything. I like and dabble in astrology, but is everything 100% true to me? No, but there are accuracies. Cluck it. Okay, I'm a Virgo rising, and I've seen before how people are like, Virgo risings always look like they have their shit together. like always. And I was like, when I thought back to myself, as a kid, I was like, yo, why was that so true? Like, I feel like I was a person, the kid, people were always asking for help, taking lead on group projects. Like, I don't know either. I'm just trying, and I've had like people say that to me in real life too, where they're like, you just always look like you're chilling. Like, it's cool. And I'm like, I feel like that's so true, but I feel like it's important to like talk things through too, because y'all, I be going through it too. And I even had a little bit of anxiety of like feeling like this a couple weeks ago too, because I am someone who gets, shout out to my ex, who gets very seasonally depressed. Like, I hate when I start feeling that feeling every October, um, because it's a reminder of when I experienced like sexual abuse for the first time. It was like happening throughout holiday season. Those are like my prominent memories. And I really want to have a good holiday season. Like, I feel like I always have good holiday seasons, like not necessarily anything goes wrong, but those memories and anxiety attacks and stuff always come back. So I feel like it's good to like even speak about that. How I'm like, I'm feeling better, but I always am anxious. That it sucks that like my favorite part of the year, which includes my birthday, um, is really washed because of a bitch who decided to do things to get to me against my will, and now that's just there. But yeah, it is okay, Queen. Things are going to move. There's no determined things change for the better and change for the worse at random things. I don't want anyone to gaslight you that it's because of this or punishment for this. Like I said, as someone who lives in the real world, it just happens. And yeah, but also I hope like I said, how I'm proud of myself and I do appreciate my own resilience, how I'm like also things can look a lot different. Ooh, than they did before. To hang in there if you felt like me 2 years ago, because I'm like 2 years ago, like I said, how I felt when I made the video 2 years ago, it was like, yes, I just feel like crossing my arms, sitting here, waiting, because nothing's worth it. But what does it matter? I'm gonna feel like this. Can you erase the memories out of my head? Like, no, nothing, 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 nothing. And it's like now, and I would sit in that for a week or longer. And now I can fluctuate. I can everybody and pick it back up the next morning. Or even if I'm not picked up the next morning, it's just a little bit better. So, yeah, I hope something I said made sense. I think it always does. I think the real ones get it. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to another podcast episode. I hope I said something that was helpful or made you feel seen. Don't forget to click that link in my bio and check out my business that I just launched a couple weeks ago, especially if you're one of the girls. Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.